This section is called nonlinear inequalities. To solve a polynomial inequality, we will use the fact that a polynomial changes signs only at its zeros. Let's continue to practice, well, let's practice graphing. All right, first. So what I'm going to do first is go down to the bottom where this coordinate axis is. And what I want us to do first is graph. All right, let's graph f of x equals x squared minus 2x minus 3. If I ask you to graph this, what would you do?
First.
Try
Yeah.
to factor it to find the zeros.
Okay, nice. Okay, I like that. All right, I like that. She said factor to find, okay, find zero. Let me write that over here. I like that idea. Find zeros. So first we have x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. What are the factors? Someone other than the carrier. Someone other than the carrier.
X minus 3 and x plus 1.
Nice. X minus 3, x plus 1. Nice. X minus 3 equals 0, or x plus 1 equals 0. So we have x equals 3, x equals negative 1. So what are the x-intercepts then?
3 and 0. Negative 1 and 0.
3, 0, negative 1, 0. Very nice. Let's go ahead and plot those points on the graph. All right. 3, 0 right here. Negative 1, 0. Now, according to this function, what's the shape? What's the shape of this function?
Quadratic,
Okay, good. What's the shape of it? How would it look once
like a
we
U.
finish?
Like you.
Like a U. Very good. It's a parabola and it's U-shaped. All right, we got 2 points. I like that. Those are key critical points right there. I moved it. All right. So those are good. I need more. I need a little bit more help than that. Can someone tell me another way? That was
The
good though,
X and
man.
Y intercept.
Very nice. Intercepts. All right. So then we already found the X, right? So how do you find the Y again?
Set x to
Set the
0.
equation to zero.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put Y intercept for this. All right. So F of 0. I'm gonna come back and put that in. 0, 0, 0. So f of 0 equals
Negative
what?
3.
Very nice. So as a point, the y-intercept is what?
0, negative 3.
Very good. I'm going to go ahead and plot that. 0, negative 3. That's right there. What would be another crucial point you think we need? Y'all see how it's like, it looks like it's doing, will it open up or open down? This graph. This.
Up.
All right. So y'all see how it's looking like it's doing that? But it looks like maybe it was another point down here. What's that point called? Okay. We probably need at least one more point. What do y'all think we need to find?
The x-axis.
Well, the zeros or the x-intercept, those where it crosses the x-axis. But I feel like we
Uh,
need more information down here. Did someone say it? What'd you say? Guess. Where's your guesses?
the slant. And is it?
Nah, we're just graphing it right now. I'm gonna
Can
go
you
ahead and
do
tell
a
you.
T chart table or something?
That would be very good too. I must admit, that would be very good. I probably would have started with a T-table. All right. But I'm gonna go with um let's practice finding the vertex the easy way. I'm going to show you how to find the vertex the easy way. All right. Find vertex the easy way. So the formula is x equals negative b over 2a. All right. So if we look at this function, what do you think is b?
-2.
Negative 2x.
Just b. Just b.
Negative 2.
Right. Because I'm looking at this. This is the little form. This is the form. So b is negative 2. 2 times a. What is a?
1.
1. So what is this? What is x?
1.
1. So since x is 1, what we're going to do is to find y, we're just going to plug it into the function. F of 1 equals 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3. All right, is there a question?
Yes, ma'am. How did y'all get 1? Negative 2 over 2 times 1. How did they
-2
end up being 1?
divided by 2.
It's negative 1.
Okay, we got negative times negative is positive.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we got to include this sign. Okay.
All right.
Thank
2
you.
over 2 equals 1. All right. What is 1 squared? That's 1 minus 2 minus 3. What is that?
-4.
Okay. Is it? You know what? My graph moved again. Hold on, y'all. -1, 3. Okay, right there. Okay. Very good. -4. So the vertex is what? What's my x and what's my y? As a point.
X is 1, and then Y is negative 4.
All right, that's the easy way to find the vertex. All right, so 1, -4. As you can see, it's farther down. What is the vertex really? The vertex here is the lowest point, right? If it was upside down, it would have been the highest point. So that's a very crucial point sometimes to graph a quadratic. So I'm just going to do that. All right. Here's what I want y'all to notice at these zeros right here. Notice, y'all notice that, let me see if y'all, do y'all see my little mouse right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So notice above this, before we get to the 0, y'all see how the y values are positive? And what I mean by y values, the numbers, for example, on the y-axis. Right here is positive, see? These are positive numbers. But when it hit that 0, the y values are now what? Negative.
Negative.
That everything from this 0 right here to this 0 over here is negative. And then when it hit that 0, now it's positive again. So here's my point to that. We're going to use that knowledge for this section. It says we will use the fact that a polynomial changes signs only at its zeros. What they're saying is it was positive, then it changed signs at the 0, and now the y's are negative, and then it changed signs again at the 0, and now it's positive. All right? We're going to use that information to help us. It says between 2 consecutive zeros, a polynomial must be entirely positive or entirely negative. And we just noticed that it was entirely negative between these 2 zeros, for example. So here we go. We want to know when x squared minus 2x minus 3 will be less than 0. What type of numbers are less than 0?
Negative numbers.
Very good. Negative numbers. All right. So really graphically, The point is, what numbers are uh, negative numbers? These from here to here. And I'm going to show you algebraically how to solve this. But I want you to also see it graphically. All right. You're going to see the answer in a few seconds. All right. So the first thing we do, we follow these steps. Find all real zeros of the polynomial. We did that over here. X plus 1 times x minus 3 equals 0. We found out that the zeros are x equals -1 and x equals 3. We already did that. Those are called key numbers. I'm probably going to say critical values, or I might say key numbers. All right, just letting y'all know. I might use them interchangeably. All right, next. Arrange the zeros in increasing order from least to greatest on the number line. Which number is lower, -1 or 3?
-1.
-1.
So we're going to put -1 here, and we're going to put 3 here. All right. What is, other than Alicia and the carrier, what is over here? What is going to the left? Where is it going on the number line? Other than, yes, negative infinity. And on the right side, where is it going?
Positive infinity.
Positive infinity. Yes. All right. What we're going to do now, if I can pull up my, see, this update is slowing me down. All right. Positive infinity. I just need to know what I'm doing. All right. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to test each interval. We have 3 different intervals right here. We have the interval between negative infinity to -1. We have -1 to 3. And we have 3 to infinity. We're going to test one value between negative infinity and -1. I try to choose the easiest number I can find between those two numbers. What do you want to plug in with a number that's between negative infinity and -1?
2.
Did you say 2 or -2?
2. I don't know.
A number
It
between
would have to
negative
be a
infinity
-2.
and -1. All right. I'm just going to write it down right there, small. All right. So let's go back to this factored form right here. If we plug in -2 into this first parenthesis, would that be a negative number or a positive number?
A -1.
Negative number.
All right, good. And we plug in -2 into the second parenthesis, would that be a negative number or a positive number?
-5.
All right. What's a negative times a negative?
A positive.
Positive. So in between this interval right here, you're only going to have positive y values. All right, let's test a number between -1 and 3. What's the easiest number you can think of between -1 and 3?
0, 1.
All right. I love plugging in 0. All right, 0. If we plug in 0 to the first parenthesis, will we get a negative number or a positive number?
Positive number.
All right. If we plug in 0 into the second parenthesis, will we get a negative number or a positive number?
A -3.
All right. So what's positive times negative? Positive number times a negative number is negative. All right. Let's choose a number between 3 and infinity. What number do you want to plug in?
4.
Let's plug in 4. All right. If we plug in 4 into the first parenthesis, would it be positive or negative?
Positive.
What about the second parenthesis?
Positive.
Positive times positive is
Positive.
A positive.
positive. All right. Now we're going to go back to what the problem asked us. We want to know when x squared minus 2x minus 3 is less than 0. So are we looking for positive or are we looking for negative? Because it said less than 0. What type of numbers
A
are
negative.
those? negative numbers. So our answer is between -1 and 3. That's the interval where this polynomial function is less than 0. All right, so the interval, which interval satisfies the inequality? Between -1 and 3. All right, between -1 and 3. This is the answer. All right, that makes sense because when we graphed it, what numbers were below this x-axis? The numbers between x equals -1 and the numbers between 3, -1 and 3. All right, so that's the answer. Any questions about that first one? We're gonna do more like this. All right. If it said equal to, if it had equal to there, we would have put a bracket instead of a parenthesis. All right, because these numbers are where -1 and 3 are the numbers that would equal 0 if we plugged it in. All right, let's try this one. It's very similar. Again, and let me point this out. I always make sure you solve for 0, I guess. You have 0 on one side of the inequality. Before starting the problem. And we do. All right. What we're going to do is let's factor. Can someone tell me the factors for x squared minus x minus 6?
X minus 3, x plus 2.
All right, Alicia. Alicia, you on this factoring, aren't you? It's pretty good. All right. The key numbers are, all right, the key numbers include are kind of like the zeros, right? What are the key numbers here? X equals what? And x equals what?
2 and -2 and +3.
Very nice. I'm glad that you put it in order because the next step is I'm going to draw a number line and it'll be nice that it's already in order so I don't have to think about it. -2 and 3, and of course you got negative infinity that direction, you have positive infinity to the right. Our test intervals are between negative infinity to -2, between -2 and 3, and then between 3 and infinity. So we have 3 test intervals again. Let's start with negative infinity to -2. Let's choose a test value. What number do you want to plug into our x minus 3, x plus 2? You gotta be
-1.
between, you gotta be between negative infinity and -2.
-3.
-3. All right. If we plug in -3 into the first parenthesis, all we really need to know are the signs. Will the sign be negative or positive?
Negative.
Yep. What about -3 plus 2? Would that be negative or
Negative.
positive? Negative.
Negative.
So we're going to multiply negative times a negative to get
Positive.
positive for this interval. All right. What number do you want to choose that's between -2 and 3? What's the easiest number you can think of?
0.
Yeah, I like plugging in 0. All right, 0 minus 3, is that negative or positive?
Negative.
All right, what about 0 plus 2?
Positive.
All right, so ultimately, The values in this middle interval, are they negative or positive?
Negative.
Yep. All right, let's choose a number between 3 and infinity. What number do y'all want to choose?
4.
Yep, 4. So 4 minus 3, would that be negative or positive?
Positive.
Positive.
Yep. What about 4 plus 2?
Positive.
Positive times positive is positive.
Positive.
All right. So we are looking this time again for numbers that are less, the interval where our y values will be less than 0. So what interval would that be?
Negative infinity and -2.
Less than 0. What numbers are less than 0? Negative numbers or positive numbers?
Negative.
What negative numbers? So what's our interval?
0, -2 to 3.
Negative 2 to 3. This is only the interval that gave us negative. Y'all see it? All right, ask me questions because something y'all not catching.
Explain it because I was following, but I'm lost.
All right. So we'll explain what exactly.
The
What?
numbers, because I'm looking, I don't know.
Okay, what are you looking at?
I know you were
I think I
saying
was trying to
less
get
than
lost.
0.
Say it again, Alicia.
No, I was just trying to see what didn't click when you were saying
Right.
less than 0.
Numbers that are less than 0
Oh, I
are
see the
negative numbers.
sign, the negative
Right.
numbers. So that's
Yeah.
where you get that from.
hmm
Overthinking it.
If it was greater than 0, we'll look for the positive intervals, right?
Yeah.
Greater than 0 means numbers that are positive, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Less than 0 are numbers that are negative. So this was the only interval that gave us negative solutions. All right, let's graph it. What points can we plug in based on what we already found? What points can we plot?
-2 and 3.
All right, give me the points.
2, 0, and 3,
Negative 2,
0.
0, and 3, 0. Good. Give me another point that could help us.
-2 and 3. No.
All right, these are x values. You can't make something a y value, right? All right, so we just plugged -2, 0, and we just plugged in 3, 0. Those are called x-intercepts. Give me another nice point that we could plot.
What about 2?
I mean, give me another point. You gave me a number.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You gave me a number. Give me a point. Give me a point.
-2, 3.
Remember, you said -2. So basically, you plugged in a -2 and you got 3. That's what you're saying?
Oh, no, man. I was looking at the
Okay.
solution set. I thought we was putting that in.
That's an interval. That's not a solution. All right. All right. That's an interval. It's not, they are not points. I know because it's parentheses, y'all think it's a point. It's not a point. Interval means, like we talked about here, the interval between -1 and 3. Everything in between here is negative. Y'all see that? It doesn't mean a point, -1, 3. It means everything between x equals -1 and x equals 3. It's not a point. All right. What I was looking for y'all to say was y-intercept. We did the x-intercepts. I was looking for someone to say, let's plot the y-intercept. So how do you find the y-intercept?
You set it to 0. I mean,
Yep. So
set
if the
x to
function
0.
set x to 0. So if the point was, well, the function is x squared minus x minus 6, and we plug in a 0 for x this time, what will we get? Plug in a 0 for x, what would f of 0 equals?
-6.
-6. So the y-intercept is, as a point, how would you write that?
0, -6.
0, -6. All right. 0, -6 right here. I'm going to attempt to do the vertex really quickly. Vertex. So y'all following. We know that's x equals negative b over 2a. This is an easy way to do it. Negative b. B is what?
-1.
What is
-1.
-1? All right. What's a?
1.
Yep. So that's 1 over 2. So we know it's 1/2. All right. Then I'm going to plug it into the x's. 1/2 squared minus 1/2 minus 6. So that's 1/4 minus 1/2 minus 6. And if I wanted all of them to have the same denominator, I can make that a 2 over 2. And I can change this to a 24 over 4. All right, so that's 1 minus 2 minus 24 over 4, which equals -25 over 4. What is -25 over 4 as a mixed number? -25 over 4. Negative what? As a mixed number.
6.25.
Yeah. Okay, but as a mixed number, what would it you trying to get past me on that mixed number? -6 and what?
1/4.
Yep, which is what she said, -6.25. All right, so I'm gonna plot the point 1/2 -6 That is the vertex. It makes sense because it's should be a little lower than the point that we already plotted, which was the y-intercept. All right, so it's somewhere down here. So I'm just gonna draw you. Looks sort of like this. All right, notice between -2, between -2 and 3, this is where your graph has negative y values. That's why the solution is between the interval -2, 3. All right, it's not a point. I know that can be confusing in math. You see parentheses and you think point automatically. But interval notation is also, they also use parentheses with interval notation. All right, we're gonna try to end on this one, I guess. Maybe 2. We'll see. Maybe 2 more. All right, for this one, example 2, 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 32x is greater than -48. I gave you a little note earlier. What do you think I want you to do based on this note?
Make
Always
sure.
factor first. To factor first.
What? Okay, what's the note say? Did y'all write the note when I wrote the note?
Always make sure you have 0 on one side
Mm-hmm.
of the inequality before starting.
Mm-hmm. Is it 0 on one side?
No.
No.
No. So what do you think I want you to do first?
You'll have
Yeah.
to move that negative 48.
You got to move that negative 48. How we do that
Oh, you gotta
mathematically?
add it to each side.
Yes. You got to add 48 to both sides. Very nice. So now we have 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 32x plus 48 greater than 0. It's greater than 0 this time. So we're looking for negative numbers or positive numbers, ultimately. If it says greater than
Positive
0.
numbers.
Thank you, thank you. Just throwing that out there. It changed on us. All right, next, if we follow our steps, what do you think we need to do now? It says step, find all the zeros. How do we find the zeros? We need to do what?
Factor.
Yep. How we factor up? Ooh, 4 terms. How do we factor that?
Group.
Grouping.
Group. Yeah, I always try group first. And then if that doesn't work, you got to try all those P over Qs and all that kind of stuff that y'all learned about. All right, what could you pull out of the first group?
X squared.
X squared.
True. X squared times what?
2x minus 3.
Minus 3.
Yep. All right, so basically we want to see 2x minus 3 again. So what should we pull out of the second group?
2x minus 3.
Well, what's the GCF of the second group? What are we pulling out?
Is it 16?
Positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative.
Yeah. Only negative 16 will work to give you that nice 2x minus 3. All right, which means we have 2x minus 3 times x squared minus 16. Are we done factoring?
No.
No, ma'am.
Nope.
You got a difference
So
of
it's
squares.
true. What are the factors for that difference of squares?
X
X
plus
plus
4, x minus
X
4.
minus 4.
Very nice. So what are our key numbers? The key numbers are, let's see, can we do it in numerical order? There's a lot of numbers. The key numbers are what? X equals,
Negative 4.
yep. What else we got?
3 over 2.
3 over 2, yeah, because that's 1.5. And
Positive 4.
yep. So on our number line, we got -4, we got the 3 halves, we got 4. So how many different intervals do we have to test this time?
3.
Sure.
No,
All right,
I'm
we
not
gotta
sure.
do this.
It's 4.
1,
It will be 4.
2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 different intervals. Let's start with the first one to the left. What test value do we want to plug in that's between -infinity and -4?
-2. I mean -5.
-5. All right. All right. Plug into the first parenthesis. Would it be negative or positive?
It would be a positive number.
-10 minus 3. Is that negative or positive?
Negative.
For the yeah, just for the first parenthesis. Now let's plug into x plus 4. Is that negative or positive?
It's positive.
-5 plus
Negative.
4?
Negative.
Negative.
That's
All
negative.
right. And then what about x minus 4? -5 minus 4. Is that negative or positive?
Negative.
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 So we got 3 negatives. What is a negative times a negative times a negative ultimately? What is it?
Positive.
Negative.
Negative. All right. Because negative times negative is positive, and then when you multiply the positive times the negative, you go right back to negative. All right. Let's try a number between -4 and 3/2. Give me a number between -4 and 3/2.
0.
0. Very nice. 0 in the first parenthesis, would that give us a negative or positive?
Negative.
All right. What about the second parenthesis?
Positive.
Yep. What about the last parenthesis?
Negative.
All right. So ultimately, negative times positive times negative is,
Positive.
yep, because that negative times negative change to positive. All right. What's the number between 3/2 and 4?
1.
Well,
No.
3/2 is
No.
1 1/2. So what should we plug in? Give me a number between 3/2 and 4. All right, we're running out of time, y'all. Give me a number.
3.
2.
2, 2. All right, plug it into the first parenthesis. Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
All right, second parenthesis.
Positive.
Third parenthesis.
Negative.
So ultimately, positive times negative is
Negative.
negative. All right, one more. 4 to infinity. Give me a number, test value.
5.
All right, plug into the first parenthesis. Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive.
All right, middle parenthesis.
Positive.
Last parenthesis.
Positive.
Ultimately, is it negative or positive in this interval?
Positive.
Positive. We are looking for values that are positive. Tell me the intervals where it's positive.
5 to negative infinity.
Okay, we're
Positive.
looking at the key numbers now. Key numbers.
Is it -4 to 4?
Okay, positive, guys. There are only 2 intervals up here that are
4
positive.
to infinity and -4 to.
-4 to 3/2 is negative right here. So we can't do right here is negative. Y'all see that, right? All right, so -4 to 3/2 is gonna be a parenthesis because it's not equal. Union, what other interval?
4 to infinity.
4 to infinity. All right. If you said that, forgive me, I didn't hear you. All right, so those are the 2 intervals where it is positive values. That's what we're looking for because it said greater than 0. All right, we're gonna stop there. We'll finish the rest on Thursday. So 2.7 is, we talked about nonlinear inequalities. To solve a polynomial inequality, we will use the fact that a polynomial changes signs only at its zeros. Between 2 consecutive zeros, the polynomial must be entirely positive or negative. So we use that information to solve these problems. So let me go to the first example again, which was x squared minus 2x minus 3 is less than 0. We wanted to know, where did this polynomial function? When was it less than 0? Graphically, that means on the y-axis, when are the numbers negative when it says less than zeros? So what we did was we found the zeros. How did we do that? Well, we factored here. We set each factor to 0, and then we made sure our numbers were in order, the lowest number first. So we put -1 and 3 on our number line, and we tested intervals. For this one, we had 3 different intervals. The intervals were -infinity to -1. So when they ask you that in WebAssign, you're going to put intervals like this: parenthesis, to parentheses, comma, parentheses to parentheses, comma, parentheses to parentheses. All they're asking you are for the intervals. But you have to test the intervals for the actual answer. All right. Question. Who's somebody's? Let me go. Who asked the question? Monisha.
Okay, I have a question. On my website, on some of them it does like negative infinity to -1, and on some of them it says -3. I mean -1 to 3. So like, can we do like the negative infinity to -1, or just like -1 and 3?
I don't know what you mean. It did. Was the question? What are the intervals? Test intervals?
Yes, ma'am. And it said, yeah, everything. It said -1 and 3.
Let me look at yours. Which
Okay.
problem is this? What number? I'm gonna have to look at Web
Like
Assign.
my number 5 was like that, like 5 and 3.
All right. Let's see.
And then also my number 8. So I just wanted to make sure for the test.
Number 5. You got number 5,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. I just want to know why it said like the -5 and
The solution is not the test intervals. Test intervals are, what are the test intervals plain is not, that's not the solution. The solution is which interval meets the criteria of the original problem. The original problem here is when it is less, which interval is less than 0. So you got 3 test intervals, but the answer was what, everybody? Can y'all explain what the answer was? What was the answer? What did we put in the box?
For the practice problem that we're doing now?
Yeah,
it
for
was
this
-1, 3.
-1, 3. This is the only interval where it was negative. Remember we put negative right there? So there are 3 different intervals. 1, that's the first interval. 2, that's the second interval. 3 different intervals. These were
Thomas.
Yes.
When I was doing it and like I was going through all of them, like they got the greater than or less than sign or whatever.
Yeah.
I had to kind of break it down to myself because I was confusing myself. I would just ask myself like what numbers are greater, or depending on the sign, like what numbers are greater than 0, the positive number or the negative numbers. And then if it's positive, I just circled the ones that had the positive sign above the line that I did. And then I would just do it like that.
This means numbers. I guess we need to go back to what inequalities mean. What type of numbers are less than 0? What type of numbers?
The
negative numbers. Negative numbers. So that's why we're testing to see which interval will give us negative numbers. All right. So here we did the same thing. We're still looking for numbers that are less than 0. So what was that answer? What interval ended up being negative numbers?
-2 to 3.
All right. Again, that's an interval. That's interval notation. That's not a point. I know it has 2 parentheses around it, but it could have been a bracket on one of those instead of one of those parentheses. It's not a bracket here because we don't have equal to here. All right. If it was equal to, we would be using brackets. All right. This one, I think we got to the point where we came up with the answer. The intervals, the solution was -4 3/2 union 4 to infinity. Again, those are intervals. And it's kind of obvious those are intervals because I put an infinity in there. All right. Those are not points. Again, we're talking about intervals where the graph is either greater than something or less than something or greater than equal to something or less than or equal to something. All right. We did not graph this one though. So what can you tell me about if we had to graph 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 32x plus 48. Taking what we wrote down here, what points can we plot? So look at what we wrote on Tuesday. What points can we plot for this particular graph?
-4 and 1.5.
All right, give me a point. Give me
Oh.
points. Give me points to plot.
It'll be
Negative
4, 0,
0.
-4,
4,
0.
0. Okay, somebody said 4, 0. Thank you. That's a 0. What's another one?
-4, 0.
Yep, -4, 0 was another one. What's another one?
3 halves and 0.
Yep, 3 halves, 0. What is 3 halves? So we know how to plot that. What is 3 halves really?
1.5.
1.5.
Yep. So we got that. We know that. What degree polynomial? What is this degree?
Third degree.
Third degree. What's the shape? What's the end behavior? What's the shape of this graph?
Both ends are up.
Are you sure?
What's going to rise on the right and sit on the left?
Okay, it's gonna be that way here and then this way here. All right, we found the x-intercepts. We write x-intercepts. How would you find the y-intercept?
Set x to 0. But everywhere you see x, put 0.
Everywhere you put x, very nice. So what is the y-intercept?
0.48.
0.48. So of course I'm not gonna go all from 5 to 48, y'all. I'm just gonna say, oh, that's 48 right there. Obviously that's not true, but I just want to sketch it right now. So it's gonna do something like this, if y'all agree. And bam, bam. It's gonna do something like that. That's how our graph's gonna look. But of course, guess what? You can use Desmos. So, but I want you to obviously know how to graph before you get out of Math 112. So that's why we do some graphs by hand. All right. Now, here's what I want you to see. We said that the intervals that are greater than 0, what type of numbers are those? Positive numbers. All right. So we said that one interval is this one, -4 to 3 halves. Now notice the graph. Isn't this -4 right here? See all of these numbers right here on the y-axis? If you look at the y-axis, all of these numbers, y values are positive, correct? So from -4 to 1.5, they are positive y values. We also have positive y values from 4 to infinity. Right here. Start back up. Positive values right in this direction. So everything that I marked with purple, bluish colors, those are the solutions, because that's when your polynomial function is positive. Everything else is negative. It's below the x-axis. All right, let's move on to this one. All right, question.
Yes, Dr. Thomas. Can you go over key numbers again? Wait a minute.
All right, key numbers.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, key numbers for now. I haven't introduced you another piece of it, but key numbers for now, all right, are the zeros. Okay, so find number one, find all real zeros of the polynomial. The zeros are called the critical values or key numbers. All right. Later on, I'm going to tell you something else is called a key number. I just hadn't gotten to it yet. All right. So for now, your zeros Write that down. It's one more piece of information I got to explain. And we're going to get to it. All right. Example 3. 4x squared minus 5x greater than 6. What do you think we need to do first?
Subtract 6 from
Get
each
6
side.
on the left side. Yeah.
Very good. Subtract 6. All right. So let's do that. All right. Subtract 6 from both sides. We get 4x squared minus 5x minus 6 greater than 0. All right. Step. Now, what are we supposed to be doing now? According to our steps. Find all zeros. How do we do that?
You got to factor.
Exactly. We have to factor. All right. So I want you to work on factoring. How do you factor 4x squared minus 5x minus 6?
I use the AC
AC
method.
method.
AC method or trial and error, however you want to do it. But whatever you do, check it and make sure when you multiply it, it's 4x squared minus 5x minus 6 before you answer. All right, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes to factor this trinomial. All right, do we have factors yet? Anybody have?
Yes.
All right, what are the factors?
4x plus 3x minus 2.
Very nice. Any questions about that? 4x plus 3x minus 2. So to find the zeros, we're just going to set 4x plus 3 to 0. All right, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to find the zeros. All right, so the key numbers are what? Key numbers are
2 and negative 3 quarters.
all right, the key numbers are, and I'm going to put the negative one first. Because on the number line, we want it in order, right? So we got negative 3/4, and we have 2, and obviously that's negative infinity to positive infinity. All right, can someone explain to me what are our test intervals? Not the answer. What are our test intervals?
Negative 3/4. Negative 3/4 and 2. 2 and positive infinity.
All right. So I'm hoping y'all understand that we're just writing down the intervals for what are the test intervals. We didn't solve anything. We're just writing it down. All right. Now we need to actually test the intervals by plugging in numbers. Let's try the first interval from negative infinity to negative 3/4. What number do you want to plug in?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. So we're going to plug it into this. Let's try to plug in our number into the factored version. It doesn't matter, but let's try to factor into that. So negative 2. If we plug negative 2 into the first parenthesis, would it be negative or positive?
Negative.
Negative. What about, okay, so that'll be a negative times, would it be negative positive for the second parenthesis?
It'll be positive.
A negative 2?
-2 minus 2. No,
What is that?
it's negative.
All right, a negative times a negative is
Positive.
positive. All right, let's test a number between negative 3/4 and 2. What's the easiest number we can come up with?
0.
Yeah, let's try 0. Plug a 0 into the first parenthesis. Would it be negative or positive?
Positive.
All right, plug it into the second parenthesis. Would it be negative or positive?
Negative.
All right, so what is that? Positive times negative.
That's a negative.
All right. All right. Alicia answered and Kendall answering the question. So somebody else. What is a number between 2 and infinity that we can plug in?
3.
3. Again, 3 into the first parenthesis. Would that be a positive number or a negative number?
Positive.
All right. What about the second parenthesis?
A positive.
Yep. Positive times positive is
A positive.
positive. All right. Now, solution set. We are looking for what type of numbers according to our this.
Positive numbers.
Positive numbers. Any questions about that piece? How she knew, because it says greater than 0. Aren't numbers greater than 0 positive? All right, that's all that's saying. So how many intervals meet the criteria?
2.
2.
2 of them. Thank you. All right, we're getting somewhere now. All right, so one interval, let's start from least, we're going to do least to greatest, is what? Which interval works?
Negative
Negative
infinity to
infinity.
negative 3 over 4.
Negative 3.
All right, negative infinity to negative 3 over 4. Should we put a parenthesis or a bracket?
Parentheses.
Parentheses.
Why not a bracket, though?
Because it doesn't say equal to.
Equal to.
It doesn't say equal to. Negative 3/4 would make it equal 0 because it's a 0. We found the zeros and negative 3/4 was a 0. So therefore, if we plugged it into our polynomial function, we would get 0. But we don't want 0. We want greater than 0. All right. Union. What else?
2 to infinity.
Positive infinity.
2 to infinity. And again, 2 because we want a parenthesis there because it doesn't say equal to, and 2 would make it equal 0. Any questions about that one? Any questions?
Dr. Thomas, can we graph that one? Not like on that graph, but like
Oh.
on the number line, because I be kind of confused on it on Weber sign.
Okay. So all it's saying is so from here, maybe I need to make this a little thinner. Let's try that. From here, nope. Hold on now. All right. From here to here, then of course parenthesis, right? Parenthesis at 2, all the way here. It's the same
Okay,
thing.
so if it said equal to, we just would have put the brackets where the parentheses are.
Yeah, we would have put that and that, right?
Okay.
Instead of the curved line, I guess you would say. All right. So I asked this question to see if you get it. Alicia, other than Alicia, Kenneth, and Akira, somebody else tell me. If the inequality was 4x squared minus 5x greater than 6, greater than or equal to 6. So basically this, but a slight change in it. How would this have changed the outcome of the answer? This is the answer.
Would it
How would
be
it have changed? Okay. What you got?
would it be parentheses negative infinity negative force with the bracket
Yes. All right. Glad you caught it.
and then union then bracket 2 comma positive infinity with the parentheses.
Yes. So if it has said equal to, we do want those numbers included. We would want these numbers included because those are the numbers that will make it equal to 0. Okay. So very good.
Dr. Thomas, does it
Yeah.
have closed circles and parentheses have open circles?
All right. Say it again. You said.
The
Say it again.
brackets have closed circles and parentheses have open circles on the graph too,
Yes.
right?
Yes. That's another
Okay.
way you could have. Yep. That's another way back in the day you did it. If you have a number line, yeah. So your teacher, maybe in middle school, high school, may have done it this way, open circle, and like that. Yeah, I remember something like that, open circle. Or they could have done. So you could have seen it that way. Somebody. All right, and then you may have seen if it was this answer, you may have seen like a closed circle, and they may have done something like that. I don't know how your teacher did it, but all of this means the same. If it was a bracket, okay? If it was like that, it would have been like this. Now, I don't know what
So,
y'all are
Dr.
talking.
Thomas, if you put
Uh-huh.
that on a test, would we just need it to do it the first way?
It doesn't. I mean, I'm gonna give y'all. Well, it doesn't matter to me. How you talking about
Well, I
which
just
way?
didn't
This
want
way
it
or this way?
them to grade it
This way?
wrong.
Okay, what are you talking about? This right here or
Yeah,
this over here?
in the green versus the circles. Or do we need to just do it
For
exactly how we
something
did
like
it in
that,
web assignment?
for something like that, if it's more like graphics, I probably like a graph. I would probably give you multiple choice.
Okay.
And you see what I'm saying? Now, if I ask you to type something out, just do it this way, right?
Okay.
But if it was something graphical, I probably give you multiple choice to graph because
Okay.
I'm putting in Blackboard, and Blackboard isn't that fancy just yet to do all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay, for you to graph on it and everything. All right, let's go to this one. This one has an unusual solution. So let's go through the motions again. We have x squared plus 2x plus 1 less than or equal to 0. All right, we already have 0 on one side, so what do we do next?
You just factor.
Yep. All right, someone other than Alicia this time. Tell me what are the factors of x squared plus 2x plus 1?
X plus 1 and x plus
Uh-huh.
1.
Very nice. X plus 1 times x plus 1. All right. Very nice. What would you do next? Anybody?
Find the zeros.
Yep, find the zeros. That would tell us what the key numbers are. Or the key number in this case, because it's the same factor, right? It's the same factor. All right. Is x equals what? What is the zero?
Negative
Negative
1.
4.
-1. So how many intervals do we have to test?
1.
Huh? Huh?
Well, it'd be 2.
Two,
No,
right?
3. 2. 2.
That'd be
Two.
2. Yeah, because negative
Because
infinity 2.
-1 is -1, right? It's no different. It's not a distinct solution. It's the same, really. So it's just a repeated zero. The test intervals are, y'all tell me what the test intervals are. I know you should know by now, but I'm going to, just in case. The test intervals are,
Negative
Negative
infinity
1.
to
Negative
negative 1
1.
and
all
negative
right,
1 to infinity.
correct. We only have two test intervals. So what number do you want to plug in for the first test interval?
Negative 2.
All right, -2. Plug in -2 for the first parenthesis. Would it be negative or positive?
Negative.
All right. So that'll be a negative times a negative, which is
Positive.
positive. All right. Let's test a number in the other interval, -1 to infinity. Give me a number.
0.
0.
Plug in 0. Plug in 0 to the first parenthesis. What will you get?
Positive.
A positive.
Yep. Positive times positive is
Positive.
A positive.
positive again. Okay. Let me tell you. Okay. So what type of numbers are we looking for?
Less
No,
than or
let's
equal to.
do- Yeah,
Less than 0, or what type of numbers?
negative numbers.
Negative
Numbers.
numbers are numbers that are equal to 0, right? All right. What do y'all think? What y'all think?
No solution.
Do not exist.
Oh, so close. It is actually a solution. Alicia, what did you say?
Do not exist.
No, I'm sorry.
So what side is good for saying do not exist, no solution, D&E, all kinds of stuff. All right. It's actually the answer. Kenna, what did you say? It's
I don't feel like
actually,
I was right.
huh?
I said I don't feel like I was right.
What did just guess, just guess. Just guess. It's
No,
okay.
I was way off. I said I, but I know I is a square root.
Oh
Eight.
no,
No
we're not
real
even
numbers.
here.
It's
We're
still
not
Yeah,
doing that. Anyone else want to guess and take a shot at it? It's a
Could
solution.
it just be negative
all real
infinity?
numbers except -1. I don't know.
What did Nakira say before I say that? What'd you say,
I
Nakira?
said negative infinity.
Oh no. Anybody else want to take a shot at it? All right. All right. So it's definitely not those intervals we just came in. It's one single answer. Can you figure it out? If I
0.
can, it's one answer that works. One number.
negative.
Anybody want -1? -1. Why does -1 work?
If it's
All
less
right.
than or equal to 0.
No, because -1, if we plug -1 in, what do we get?
Oh, a negative.
Oh.
If we plug in -1 into this right here, what do we get?
Zeros. Yeah.
0.
Oh, and it's
Doesn't
equal to 0.
that right? If we plug in -1, it works. So the only answer is -1.
Dr. Thomas, you ain't gonna have now one of them problems on there easy. You have to mess us up.
If it's on your homework or if it is in your notes, it may pop up. All right. All right. So let's graph this one. What should the graph look like? We got x squared plus 2x plus 1. How does that graph
A
look?
quadratic.
Yep. How does that look? What's the quadratic looking like?
A U.
A U. Yep. It's a U. Open up or down?
Up.
Yeah.
Up. Yep. What point can I plot right now based on what we've done so far?
-1 and 0.
Negative 1, 0.
Correct. -1, 0. All right. Notice I wrote it like this too. I did that for a reason. All right. What does this squared tells me?
That is a U.
Even multiplicity. Okay, Kendall. I see you. What does even multiplicity tell us?
How many times it gonna cross the well, like it's not gonna cross it, it's just gonna bump it. Like
Yeah, good, very good. All right, very good. So we're gonna bounce at -1, 0. Okay. Or touch it, but it won't cross the x-axis. Can someone else give me the y-intercept? Other than Kenneth, Alicia, and Nakira, what is the y-intercept? That's an important point too. What is the y-intercept? Somebody else. We're not going to digress, y'all. We're not gonna go backwards either. What's the y-intercept? And you can use, I mean, maybe I need to help you out. We can use this. What's the y-intercept?
1.
Okay, tell me what it is.
0, 1.
0, 1. 0, 1. All right, so 0, 1 is right here. Again, y-intercept means that's the point that crosses the y-axis. X-intercepts are points that cross the y-axis. We know it's gonna bounce at -1, 0 because it's even multiplicity, so it's probably gonna look something like this, right? Because parabolas are symmetric. All right, so we wanted to know when it's less than 0. Y'all notice nothing is down here for this graph. Nothing is down here. These are the y's that are less than 0. Y'all see that? Nothing is down there. Only thing that would equal y equals 0 is this point right here. All right, so that's why -1 is the only answer. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to add something to these critical values now. When we have rational inequalities, the critical values are not only the zeros, but also the undefined values. When is something undefined?
When it has 0 in the denominator.
Thank you. The denominator is 0. All right. So I'm going to take you through this. So that's the only other piece to key numbers. Undefined values if you have a rational inequality, meaning if you have a fraction, then also the undefined values are also key numbers. Let me show you what I mean. So for example, y'all see this is a rational expression because it's a fraction. All right. First thing we do though, we're going to do the same thing we did before. What do we need to do first before we get started with the algebra part?
Get 0 on one side.
Yep. By doing what?
Subtracting 3.
Let's subtract 3. We get 2x minus 7 over x minus 5 minus 3 less than or equal to 0. All right. Any questions about that first step? Let me know now. All right. Okay. Next, we need to subtract. We need to put all this together as one fraction. So one fraction here. So how do we subtract fractions? Because right now we got a fraction minus a number. We want it with one fraction. How do we subtract fractions? We
multiply both sides by x minus 5.
All right, we need an LCD, which is x minus 5. This is like over 3 over 1. So we need to multiply x minus 5 times the numerator and the denominator. And that would make it one fraction. All right, so that's 2x minus 7 minus 3 times x minus 5. All right. Any questions about that? We just manipulated the situation so that it's one fraction. Now we have 2x minus 7. Let's distribute here. What do we get? Negative what?
Negative 3.
Negative 3x plus 15, yeah.
Correct. Over x minus 5. All right. Someone other than Kenneth and Alicia and Nakiria, what do we need to do in the numerator now? In the numerator.
Multiply it.
Nakiria. Not multiply. Monisha, what you think?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms.
Yes, combine like terms. Alicia. All right. Very good. So we have 2x minus 3x. What is that? 2x minus 3x.
X.
Positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative.
All right, negative x. All right, what's negative 7 plus 15?
No, come on.
8.
Yep. Over x minus 5 less than or equal 0. All right, so this is what we're going to take a look at right here for the zeros and the undefined values. All right, I'm going to family or Alicia.
Not me.
Okay. All right, so zeros. Well, let's go to undefined values. How would I figure out what would make this undefined? Okay. Just this part. Let me do this. Okay. Let's just look at this right here. What does it mean again about undefined values? When what?
When you got a 0 in the numerator or the
Not
denominator.
numerator, denominator. All right. So that's why we're going to set denominator to 0 to figure out what is the undefined value. All right. So we're going to set x minus 5 to 0, and we get x equals 5. And we're going to set the numerator to 0 because that gives us the 0. All right. But I'll do it like this so you can see. To find the zeros, you do this, equals 0. But what's going to end up happening is you multiply both sides by x minus 5 first. That cancels out. So essentially what you're doing is just setting the numerator to 0. So you don't have to do all that. Just set your numerator to 0. What do you get? You got x equals 5 as a key number. What's the other key number?
8.
X equals 8. That's the other key number. So when we do our number line, we're going to put 5 first, and we're going to put 8. All right. We're going to test a number between negative infinity to 5 first. That's our first interval. Give me a number. A number between negative
4.
and what number? 4. All right. I want y'all to plug the numbers into this right here. That's the easiest one right there. If you plug in whatever number you plug in, will you ultimately get a negative number or a positive number? It looks like it's going to be, if you plug in, let's say you plugged in 0. When you get a positive over a negative, which is what?
Negative.
All right. Keep on going. Yep. A number between 5 and 8. Choose a number between 5 and 8 and tell me, do you get a negative result or a positive result?
Negative.
All right. Okay, you plug in. What number did you choose, Mary?
Chose 6.
6. All right.
That's positive, I thought.
All right. You chose 6.
Oh no, you right.
A negative time a negative. A positive.
No, he's
Okay.
right.
You said what? You said what? A negative times a negative. What number did you plug in, Alicia?
6.
6.
Like
Okay.
me.
Let's go through it. Let's go through it together. All right. So what's -6 plus 8? What is that, y'all?
2.
2. All right. Over negative. Oh, why am I doing -6? All right. Yeah, it is negative.
Right, it's positive. Yeah, he was right.
All right. All right. Got it. We're good now. We good.
Yes. I
All
said it
right.
wrong.
So is it negative or positive?
Positive.
All right. What about a number between 8 and infinity? When we plug it in, will we ultimately get a negative or positive?
A negative.
Okay. 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 So what type of numbers are we looking for though?
Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to what?
0.
0. So what type of numbers are those?
Negative numbers.
Negative numbers. Okay. Now, here's the only thing I want y'all to keep in mind. 5. Okay. Okay. How to explain this? 5, x equals 5 makes the, I'm going to say function undefined. Y'all remember that? All right. Look at it. Wouldn't it make it undefined? 5 minus 5. So I want you to keep that in mind when we say our answer. All right. So tell me the first interval that works. All right. Tell me the
Well, it's gonna
first.
be negative infinity
Yep.
to. You
2.
said 5 wouldn't work.
So what should I put
Bracket.
there? Do we want to plug in 5 into this?
A bracket.
No, we do not want to include 5 because why? It
Because
makes
it
it
would make it 0.
undefined. Y'all see that? It makes it undefined there. So we do not want to include 5. So we say that using a parenthesis. All right. Union. What other interval works?
Oh, 8 to positive infinity.
Yep. I know that a parenthesis always goes on infinity, but should it be a parenthesis for the 8 or a bracket?
A bracket.
Yep. 8 is perfectly fine. It doesn't make our denominator 0. And it actually makes it equal, the whole thing equals 0, which is what we want right here because it said equal to 0. All right. Let's try another one similar to that. Next, 4x minus 1 over x minus 6 greater than 3. Someone other than Nakiria, Kenneth, Alicia, what do you do first? Someone other than Alicia, Nakiria, and Kenneth.
You said it's a 0, so you minus 3.
Yep. Subtract 3 from both sides. Let's all do that. Then what? Somebody else. Then
You
what?
rewrite it.
All right. Rewrite it how?
It'll be 4x.
What do you mean rewrite it?
Like,
just elaborate on what you meant by that.
well, basically just add -3 onto the side of the fraction.
You want to combine this as one fraction, basically. You want to make this one fraction instead of two different terms going on here. So LCD is what?
X minus 6.
Yep, because this is like a 3/1, so we need that denominator to also be x minus 6. So that means we need to multiply top and bottom by that. So we have 4x minus 1 minus 3 times x minus 6 now. All right, I want y'all to work on that. And I put the answer over here, didn't I? Okay. All right, y'all tell me what do you get once you simplify all of this? What do you get?
Get x minus 17 over x minus 6.
X is right. X is right. Okay, X, but the next part, what did you
Plus
say?
5.
Plus 15.
Plus 17. All right, so I got to do this extra step here. So 4x minus 1 minus 3x. Did we multiply negative 3 times a negative 6? All right, 4x minus 3x is x, but negative 1 plus 18 is 17. All right. How do we find the key numbers for a rational inequality?
Set the denominator to 0.
All right, we got x minus 6 equals 0, so we know 1 is x equals 6. All right, what else? Really, to just set your numerator to equal 0. That's the easiest thing. So it'll be what?
X equal
Negative 7.
17.
All right, negative 17. So negative 17, 6, negative infinity to positive infinity. All right, I want you to test all 3 intervals. All right, for the first interval, ultimately, is it a positive? Do we get positive values or negative values?
Negative.
Positive.
All right, let's work it out. We got different answers. Okay, I want you to plug it into this right here. All right, so what number y'all want to choose?
I chose negative 16.
Okay, where is
Negative
negative 16?
18.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Or is it here? All right, okay. So you chose what, Kenneth?
Negative 18.
All right, test value, negative 18. Plug it into the numerator, you get negative, right? Plug into the denominator. Don't you get another negative? So negative divided by negative is
A positive.
positive. A negative divided by negative is positive, right? So a lot of times y'all getting the little baby math wrong. That's what's messing you up. All right. Don't let the baby math throw you all off. Y'all grasping the pre-calculus, but we definitely need to know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions, and we definitely need to know integer rules. That's the foundation of math. And that's the foundation of algebra. All right, let's try a number like 0. So for the second interval, ultimately, do we get negative y values or positive y values out of that? Is it negative or positive?
Negative.
Negative. All right. And the third interval, what do you get?
Positive.
Positive.
Positive. Y'all notice that it normally alternates. And you start with, y'all notice that you start with a positive, go to negative, and then it goes
Yes,
to
ma'am.
positive. Yeah, it normally does. Some rare cases, it doesn't do that though. So I want you to always test. All right, so what type of numbers do we want though for our solution? What type of numbers meet the criteria?
Positive numbers.
All right, okay, so give me the interval that works or intervals.
Negative infinity to negative 17.
All
And
right, parenthesis or bracket here. Parenthesis or bracket.
parentheses.
Yep. Union.
Can't use 6. So,
You can't use what?
I mean, you can use 6, but like it's going to be a bracket.
It's gonna be a bracket.
It's gonna be parentheses.
Parentheses.
We you put parentheses to say no, 6 is not included, but 6.1 is. Y'all get what I'm saying? 6.01 is, but not 6 itself. So that's why you put a parenthesis to say this particular number right here you can't plug in. We don't want that to be included, but 6 point whatever else is okay. All right, we're gonna move on. One last concept is find the domain of expression. Here we go again, back to domain. All right, y'all remember square roots? I don't know if y'all remember. We talked about square roots in domain before. Let's revisit. All right, what type of numbers do we want under the square root symbol? What type of numbers?
Positive.
Yep, we want positive numbers. And one more number works. What other number is okay other than positive numbers? One more number.
Negative. Is it negative? Negative 2.
I don't want square root of -2 in the real number system.
1.
That's a positive number. Give me one more number. I know it's tricky.
0.
What is 0? All right. And I say that because 0 is not considered to be a negative or positive number. But so we want, here's what we want. We want to set 64 minus 4x squared greater than or equal to 0. Because we want everything under the radical to be greater than or equal to 0. All right, so what we're going to do is solve 64 minus 4x squared greater than or equal to 0 using the knowledge we have learned from this section. How do you solve this inequality, nonlinear inequality? What's the first step? We already got 0 on one side, so we don't need to move things around. Factor. Factor is what we're going to do. How do you factor
Pull
64?
out. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh, pull out 4. Pull out the 4.
Yep.
I would
4
say,
is correct.
and then you're gonna do 16, positive 16, minus x squared.
Correct.
Okay.
Are we done factoring? Are we done?
No. You can do x plus 2, x minus 2.
No, not exactly. You
Oh
on
no, it's
something.
not gonna be that because it's a
So
X
what
plus 4
it's
X
gonna
minus.
be it's gonna be
I love all y'all trying to talk at the
it's
same
gonna
time.
be x plus something. It's gonna have 3 factors. I don't know.
This is backwards though. So how I want y'all to say it?
I don't know. Never mind.
4 plus x
4.
and 4 minus x.
All right, because that's not the same as x plus 4x minus 4. These are that will give you a totally different result. All right, very nice. Let's go ahead and get rid of the 4. We don't need that 4, y'all. Let's get rid of it. So 4 plus x times 4 minus x greater than or equal to 0. All right, so what are the key numbers then? Where are the key numbers? Are the zeros? What are they? X equals
-4 and +4.
Correct. Those are the numbers we're going to put on our number line. All right. What number do you want to plug in from the first test interval? What number do you want to plug in?
-5.
Okay, -5. Put -5 in the first parenthesis. What do you get?
-1.
All right. So that's negative times. All right. Second parenthesis. You get a negative or positive?
+9.
Okay. Negative times positive is
Negative.
negative. All right. Let's go to interval, a number between -4 and 4. Do you ultimately get a negative number or a positive number?
Positive.
Yep. Last test interval. Plug in your number and tell me if you get a negative number or a positive number.
Negative.
Negative. Okay. What type of numbers meet our criteria though when we look at the original?
Positive numbers.
And what else? And 0, correct? Just want to throw that out there. All right. So what interval works? What the domain is, the domain is the interval that works. So what is the interval that works? From what to what?
-4.
All right. What do I put as the notation for this interval? What should be on the left and what should be on the right?
Brackets.
Parentheses.
Brackets. Why is it brackets? Why is it brackets?
Because it's equal to
0.
Because it said equal 0, right? And if we plug in a -4 here, for example, we will get equal 0. Or if we plug in +4 here, we will get equal 0. And we want it to equal 0 because we set it equal 0. So that's why we use brackets, because we want to include the numbers -4 and 4 in the answer. Not just what's in between -4 and 4. We also want to include the outside numbers -4 and 4. All right. Any questions from anything we've covered
I
so
got a
far?
question, Dr. Summers.
Uh-huh.
It was about the homework. Like on one of them, I had to use the quadratic formula. I got all the way down to it, but I was confused on how do you plug in, like where do you plug in the number to figure out the intervals?
Okay. Whoa. Okay. So do you know what the problem is? What number it is, so I can look at it?
Yes, ma'am. It was my number 11. It was
Okay.
-2x squared
-2x squared
plus 2x
plus 2x.
greater than or equal to, I mean less than or equal to
Uh-huh.
-15.
-15. All right. So that's probably the same as, let me see, I'm going to take everything to the right because I want a positive leading coefficient. 2x squared minus 2x minus 15. All right. And then we want to factor it, but it doesn't factor, you say. That's what you're saying. It doesn't factor.
Yes, ma'am, because I was kind of confused on it when I started it. So I watched a little video that they have like at the bottom, and then he was using the quadratic formula. So I was like, okay, well, I just tried that way. But then when I got to actually planning it out, I was still confused.
All right. So x equals -2, right? Plus or minus the square root -2 squared minus 4 times 2 times -15 all over 2 times 2. Did I do that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. So this part right here gonna turn to a positive 2. All right, positive 2. Okay. Positive 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 plus, what's 8 times 15? 120 over 4. All right, 2 plus or minus the square root of 124 over 4. All right, is there a perfect square factor in 124?
No.
4, right? So we got 2 plus or minus 2 radical 31 over 4, which reduces to 1 plus or minus the square root of 31 over 2. All right. So we need to know, what is 1 plus the square root of 31 over 2? In your calculator, tell me what that is. And then tell me what is 1 minus the square root of 31 over 2. We need to know what is the number as a decimal. Okay. 1 plus square root of 31. Can anybody tell me in your calculator, what does that come out to be? Because I want to put on my number line.
The one that says 1 plus the square root of 31, it would be 3.28.
Correct. All right, let's try the other one. 1 minus the square root of 31. Because I'm trying to see which one is the lower number. All right.
It'd be negative 2.28.
Negative 2.28. So when we do a number line like so, then this one will come first. 1 minus the square root of 31 over 2. You see what I mean? Because that's negative 2.28. And the other one would be 1 plus the square root of 31 over 2, because that's the same as 3.28. So we still have 3 test intervals, but we're going to choose a number between negative infinity and negative 2 first. You get what I'm saying, Nakiria?
Yes, ma'am.
And then,
like, I got all the way there, but I was confused on, like, where do you plug in that number?
okay, let me see. You said this is number 11, so let me look at what you're saying. Let me go to your homework. Unless somebody else know what she's talking about before I get there. Let me look at it. Do you mean in the number line, or do you mean as the answer, the solution? Just the
Like when
solution
you
part?
like when you're doing the intervals and you plug in and you're using negative 3. Where
Okay.
do you put
So,
in negative 3 to, like, figure out if it's negative or positive?
oh, you can put it in your 2x squared minus 2x minus 15.
Okay, so
All
that's what
right.
I was trying to figure out.
Oh, okay. Got you. All right. So, yeah, let's plug it. Everybody plug it in right quick. Plug in, you said negative 3 is what you'll use. Plug it in that, and let's see what we get. 2 times negative 3 squared minus 2 times negative 3 minus 15. Is that a negative number or a positive number?
I got a positive.
Right. And that's what we want, because this means right here, what this means is numbers that are greater than 0, greater than or equal to 0. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
piece of your answer would be from negative infinity to 1 minus the square root of 31 over 2 bracket, because it says equal. Union, you see what I mean? 1 plus the square root of 31 over 2, comma, parenthesis. That's the answer.
Okay, see, that's why I was confused on where to plug in a number. I didn't know if you plugged in like where we did the radical, or I didn't even know you could use the starting
You
equation.
could. I just always use the factor form, because it just looks, you can do it in your head easier, but you could always use the original if you wanted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, y'all. I'm gonna let you
Dr.
go.
Thomas, could you
Unless you have
explain homework
stay
problem 24?
All right. Anybody who has questions, stay behind. So I'm gonna get to Alicia's question, but if you're good, you may leave. All right. Bye, y'all. All right, Alicia, what number?
24,
All
the
right.
word problem.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, let me go to yours and show it.
Georgia.
Let me stop sharing this. And go to WebAssign. Responses. Okay. All right, this one. All right, use the position equation S equals negative 16 t squared plus v naught t plus s naught, where S represents the height of an object and v naught represents the initial velocity of the object. S naught represents the initial height of the object, and t represents the time. A projectile is fired straight upward from the ground, and they tell you what it means for the ground. What does it mean? S naught equals 0. All right, with an initial velocity of 160 feet per second. So what letter represents the initial velocity? Which letter in this equation represents velocity?
The V.
The V.
The V. All right, so we're gonna make some substitutions. All right, we're definitely gonna change this V naught to 160 times t. Now the first question is, at what instant will it be back at ground level? What is ground level? They tell us right here. When S naught equals what?
0.
0.
0. Doesn't that make sense that if it's on the ground, it's going to be at 0? All right. So let me go to the whiteboard. All right. All right. So from ground level. So S, what was S again? S represents the height of an object. Okay. And we're talking about the ground. So S will also be 0. Let me stop sharing this and go to the whiteboard. Yeah, I told you I did this update and now I don't even know how to work my computer correctly. All right. All right, so it was, the original is S equals what again? Are y'all looking at it? What's the original equation? Do you have it written down anywhere?
So it's S equal negative 16 t squared plus V 0 at the bottom, t plus S 0 at the bottom.
All right. And then we said the velocity was, for yours, it was 100, what was it, 128?
160.
160.
160, okay. 160 T. So I've just made a substitution. All right. This is gonna be 0. Didn't they tell it that was 0? Didn't they tell us that?
Let me go back to it.
If you read
Yes.
it tells you in parentheses, just make S of 0, 0. They tell us that. All right. Now this represents the height. Now if we're on the ground as well, it's going to be 0. This is for part A. All right. So we need to solve this equation right here. How would you solve it? 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 160t. All right, let me put it on this side. I like my zeros on this side. How would you solve that?
You have to factor it.
Yeah, let's do that. What would you factor out first?
16t.
Okay. Negative. Let's do negative. Let's see what happens. So that'll be t. What else?
Minus 10.
Yeah, let's do that. So we said negative 16t equals 0 or t minus 10 equals 0. All right. So we either get t equals what or t equals what?
T equals 0 or t equals 10.
All right. Now we're going to go back to the question and see what are they really asking us. Okay. Because it's only one answer. Okay. The question is, let me read. At what instant will it be back at ground level? Will it be back? So if something was fired up, which one of these answers you think would be right? T equals 0 or t equals 10 if it said when would it be back at ground level?
10.
10, right? The 0 would be probably when it first started, when it's on the ground, right? And then they shot it and it took 10 seconds for it to come back. All right, so your answer, Alicia, for that one is 10 seconds.
Okay.
All right. Then we got to go to the next question. Can you read the next question?
Let me go to it. It said when will the height exceed 384 feet?
Okay, 384 feet. What does it mean to exceed something?
To go over.
Say it again.
To go over what is expected.
To go over. So as an inequality, which inequality would that line up with? Which inequality? Exceeded. Okay.
Greater than?
Greater than. Okay. So normally y'all have these little word problems in a section. They're trying to use what you learned in that section and see if you can put it all together with what you use. So let me read your question again. You said, okay, yeah. When will the height exceed 384 feet? So what we're going to do is just set it greater than or equal to 384. All right. Do y'all see the whiteboard?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're going to say when is this greater than 384? All right. Based on what we learned today or this week, what should you do first?
We need to subtract 384 from each side.
Yep. Normally, yep, that's what we do. But this is negative. I'd rather it be positive.
So bring it over to the other side?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it matters, y'all, but I got a thing about negatives. Now, if you divided by negative or something with inequalities, y'all know the sign switch. So whatever you decide to do, as long as you know you got to flip the inequality if you divide by a negative number. All right, so that'll be 16t squared minus 160t plus 384. Or this is the same thing as 16t squared minus 160t plus 384 less than 0. Same thing. I just wrote it a different way. All right, so can 16 go with 384, y'all? We need to factor, these are big numbers here. Yeah. It's 24, okay? Factor t squared minus 10t plus 24.
It's x minus 6, x minus 4.
All right. And just point this out, it's t now, because sometimes you put,
Oh, I'm sorry.
just in case they want you to plug in variables. I don't think they do though. Make sure you know it's t. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this 16. I don't know why I did it. 16. Let's just get rid of it. So really, I want us to concentrate on t minus 6 times t minus 4. So what are our key numbers?
T equals 6, t equals 4.
All right. We're going to test. I want y'all to test and tell me, what do you get for the first interval, a positive number or a negative number?
A negative number.
A negative number? You sure? Okay. You sure?
A positive
What
number.
y'all? What are y'all plugging in? What y'all plugging in? What number are you
Plugging it
plugging
in at the t minus 6 and the t minus 4.
All right. What number you plugging in?
5.
5.
Okay. 5 minus 6 will give you.
A negative number.
Okay. And 5 minus 4. So
Yeah, positive number.
negative times positive. You're right. Negative. All right. What number between 4 and 6? Oh, did y'all do this interval right here first? Did y'all do that one first? What number did y'all tell me to plug in?
5.
I think we just did
Okay.
this one.
Okay, y'all did this one first. Okay. All right, let's do this one now. Give me a number between negative infinity and 4.
3.
0.
0, 3. Okay. Will we get a negative or positive number?
Negative.
Okay, hold on. What number did you choose, Mary?
I was just going with 0.
0. Okay, if you put 0 here and 0 here, isn't that a negative times a negative?
It's positive.
All right. All right. What about? I know you really honestly have to write this stuff down. It's better to write it down and then it's trying to do it in your head. So to be honest. All right. What about this other interval over here?
Positive.
Positive again. But according to this, we are looking for what type of numbers? Which interval do we want?
Negative numbers.
All right. So the only answer is between what?
4 and 6.
4 and 6. So it's saying between 4 seconds and 6 seconds, because that's what t represents, seconds. That's when it's going to exceed 384 feet. It's going to do something like this. The projectile is going to be thrown up like this, and between 4 seconds and 6 seconds, for example, it's going to exceed 384 feet in the air. All right. All right. That was the word problem.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
You're welcome. Any other homework questions?
Thank you. There was another one I needed help with. So thank you for the help.
You're welcome. Yeah. All right. All right, y'all. Well, do good. Make me proud. Bye.
Have a good day.
You too.